I don't usually go live on my phone, so this is very odd for me. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Lieutenant Dan here, live from Orlando, Florida. It's been a minute since we've gone live and actually had discussion. I have quite a bit of news and things that I want to throw down, but today I just want to take it easy, relax, just talk some Falcons ball, and enjoy the coffee, or just hang out with the grounders. Hang out with the peeps if anybody comes through. So, we shall see. Let me make sure that the settings are good here. Chat filter is just going to be all messages, please. And yeah, this should be good. This should be fun. Hope everybody's doing well today. Make this up a little bit more like this. So what's going on, y'all? How's it going? No, I don't have College Football 25. I don't have a next-gen console, and it's not available for PC or Steam or anything like that, so your boy won't get to play any of that anytime soon. Also, on the docket here is, no, I haven't put out any football videos or anything like that because I've been taking extended time off, fix my financial situation, and try to get things back into order. That's been a task. And then, of course, on top of that is all of the different like Falcons news and notes that's been coming out and stuff like that. So we need to get into that. We need to start talking about a little bit of that. But today, just to chill, relax. Anybody that wants to come and talk and say anything they want, or want to come in and chat and say anything they want, or want to ask questions or start convo about what the Falcons are doing or anything that's going on in 2024, you guys are more than welcome to bring that up in the chat now. And make sure you share this out to your Facebooks and your Instagrams and the X accounts and everywhere else that this should go. I didn't set this up anywhere else, so just anybody that's currently subscribed to the YouTube will get to see this. But with that being said, I'm going to just go ahead and ramble a little bit here about some thoughts that have been on my mind and just some things that I've been thinking about with the Falcons in general and just stuff that's going on now. I think that's important. Let me make sure that this chat is working here. Yeah. So that's working fine. I can share this out apparently. I'm gonna share this to X real quick. Wow, crazy. I like how that YouTube crashed the moment that I went to go and like do anything down there. If you are commenting or chatting or anything like that, I can't see it apparently for whatever reason. But these are just some of the things that I'm thinking about right now. In fact, actually, come here. You guys come here. I'll sit here like this. I was thinking a little bit about what the Falcons currently have on the roster and how they've built everything. By the way, I'm just looking out into the abyss of the yard. There's nothing really going on here. Hot as heck. Really, really hot. I hope that you guys are all staying cool. But I was thinking about how the Falcons right now are expected offensively to just do well. You know, you have a guy in Kirk Cousins right now who's coming in, and not that you compare anybody, right? Because you don't want to do too many comparisons, player-to-player comparisons, because then people hold your word to that, and they're like, you said that Kirk Cousins is as good as Matt Ryan. Cap. But you do get a sense that Kirk Cousins coming in here does really, really good things for you, right? at least, you know, like there are going to be some boneheaded throws and there's going to be some things that aren't going to work. And then there are going to be some things that do end up working and you do score touchdowns because Kirk Cousins is going to throw the ball right. And he's not going to make, you know, incredibly terrible decisions, but he is going to throw some interceptions. All quarterbacks throw interceptions, including Tom Brady. So there's no quarterback. Pat Mahomes is not, you know, he's not going to not throw touchdowns and interceptions. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to fumble the ball, and even the best quarterbacks do that. So we know that. But the way that Kirk Cousins and the way that we've had Matt Ryan in the past, I believe this really speaks to the volume of what Atlanta expects this offense to be. Good, positive, scoring touchdowns, winning games. And I think that's realism, right? That's just the fact of the matter, is that Atlanta will most likely end up scoring touchdowns. You got Bijan Robinson, you got Kyle Pitts, you got Rondell Moore, you got Mooney, you've got London. You don't need to trade for anybody. You don't need to go get Brandon Ayuk. You don't need to go get any major players. You've got Tyler Algier. You've got an offense. You've got an offense that'll work. Is it deep? No, I wouldn't say that it's impossibly deep or has any grandiose like kind of setup to it. It is simplistically and openly going to pass the ball a lot, and is most likely going to keep its zone structure because you've got a good offensive line that's built for now. It's built for right now. And that's huge. That's huge for a team, right? That's huge for an entire group. Because offensively, this group is supposed to do what it's supposed to do. But I think more fans have that expectation, right? Nothing wrong with having expectations, though, because, I mean, the baseline is you go ask the 3-letter, 4-letter networks, you go ask the pundits, the podcasters, the analysts, the people at the top, and you go ask them, hey, what are the Falcons going to do well this year? Well, they have Kirk Cousins. They have all these offensive weapons. They've got a good offensive line, and they're most likely going to keep some of their running structure, so they're going to be good offensively. It's very, very easy to say these guys are going to be good offensively. End of story, donezo. But defensively, and I think the fans knowing that their expectations are what they are, as long as you don't take those expectations overboard and continue to push them further, that's called moving goalposts. But as long as you don't push that anyway or change that in any way, shape, or form and just say, we expect this offense to be good, and we understand that because it's going to be a new offense, it's going to struggle. Expect 2015 Falcons. Defensively, you don't have that premier pass rusher. And I'm not talking about John Abraham. I'm not talking about the forever and a day, everybody knows about it, elephant in the room discussion, right? I'm talking about defensively, they don't have a guy that makes people scared that's coming off the edge. But they have a lot of interior guys that are already more than capable. So you change the defense in order to be able to put those guys that have good pass rush on the interior. Do you expect it to be a traditional 34? I don't think any of us are going to say that it is going to be that way. We probably expect more what Dan Quinn put out, because Raheem Morris's familiarity with it, and then him going to LA and learning some of those defensive things. You expect them to use a combination of those things because you saw what a 3-man front with linebackers coming and blitzing looks like and how it affects coverage. But you don't have a traditional defensive end. You're changing the structure because you don't have those pieces. And so because you don't have those pieces, and because that type of player is much harder to acquire in the draft, right? It's difficult to get a true top defensive end in the draft. And that guy becomes that dominant guy that you've been looking for forever. That's just difficult. That's the truth of the matter. But because you don't have that guy, you change the look of this defense because you're familiar with other things. You bring that in because you're also familiar with this organization and what this team has looked like since 2015, because you've been here since then and you've been with the Bucks before. So you understand kind of the dynamic of what this team has gone through for a very, very long time. You're not unfamiliar with it. And you see what this team's strengths are right now, and you go, well, man, why don't we just go with the strengths? It doesn't have a premier pass rusher. That we know. Hit that like button if you feel like the Falcons should get a premier pass rusher. But because you know that it doesn't have a premier pass rusher, you end up going and saying, well, we have guys on the interior that create pass rush. Maybe they don't have the greatest grades in the world. Maybe they're not the most highly spoken. But when you put a bunch of these guys together, Kentavious Street, David Onyemata, Ruka Rororo, Brandon Dorless, Taquan Graham, Grady Jarrett, and you put them together as a package, as a bunch of dudes coming after. And there's some more names in there, by the way. There's quite a few other names. But when you put that together, that pass rush group can get in the backfield and does create some pressure. Some. And since you lack the guys on the outside that make defenses afraid, make defenses have to think about that guy and then potentially open up avenues for one-on-ones everywhere else. Since you don't have that dude and you're also not sure what your second safety and what your second corner are necessarily going to look like, you decided that you're going to go and allow your linebackers to be in that coverage area to keep things in front of them and allow the outside linebackers and the interior defensive tackles, defensive ends in this 34 to create that pressure or create, those changes. So it's I think a lot of Falcons fans would most likely be very happy with an outside linebacker or a linebacking type like a Micah Parsons, and then we're all sitting here going, yeah, that would help us right now because that's the structure of this defense, or at least what's being sold to us at this particular point in time. I don't see any messages in the chat, so if you guys are chatting in there, I apologize. I don't see anything at all, actually. Okay, there we go. So I think this Falcons team right now, they don't necessarily feel that they have to go out and go get a premiere of anything, technically, in order for them to be successful outside of having that franchise quarterback, which I think Raheem Morris, after seeing what Matthew Stafford has done for them, seeing what Jared Goff ended up turning into, having Matt Ryan for a time and seeing how valuable it is to have him, and then having a really terrible QB situation when he was a head coach in Tampa, I think that's why you have Michael Penix here. I think that's why you have Kirk Cousins here. You have Kirk Cousins because you believe in a year to 2 years that you can have that 2015, 2016 style Falcons team and make noise in the NFC South and maybe even make noise in the playoffs. And I would agree with to some extent. However, I won't say, and I won't sit here and lie to anyone, that this team is on every single position and every single spot that this team is deep. Because it's not. It's not a very deep team. I mean, after Bijan Robinson, you got Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier, if he ends up getting hurt in any way, shape, or form, you have a complete unknown at RB3. You don't need crazy running backs, but if Bijan is banged up for any reason and Algier can't go, then you're really out of running backs. Somebody back, there's nobody left. Wide receiver, after Drake London, who in here in this chat really believes that after Drake London, there's another real reliable wide receiver there? The talented Mr. Ripley, how's it going? Dirty Birds fan from Tennessee. Rise up from Tennessee. Rise up here from Orlando, Florida. Hope you're doing well. Do we believe that Darnell Mooney and Rondell Moore and Ray McLeod are going to suddenly, become so much better with Kirk Cousins here throwing to them? I mean, if you have Justin Fields throwing to you, you probably have some inkling of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like a really good quarterback is throwing to me now. Not saying that Justin Fields is a terrible quarterback. I'm just saying that Justin Fields, right? He's going to run the ball. That's what most Falcons fans were excited about if we had gotten Justin Fields, was the possibility of having a running quarterback. I fell in that trap too. I did. But, after Drake London, Kyle Pitts, especially Kyle Pitts, has had injury history, and Drake London has also had a couple of times where he's been banged up and beat up. You just really don't have a WR2, and you don't really have a second tight end. I mean, you went out and got the San Francisco guy, and he's here now, so that's a positive thing, right? That's like this video. If you believe that the Falcons could do well with this limited roster, there's so much positivity for the offense, and like the line that you can sit there and say, hey, Falcons should be a good offense, but then go to the defense and go, hey, no premier pass rusher, no CB2, no second safety that we're sure about. Not that there's not talent there, but it's just we're not sure DeMarco Hellams and Richie Grant are going to be. I mean, they haven't shown you anything to be confident in the fact that they can be that guy. And that's Clark Phillips too. Clark Phillips as a CB2. Do you believe in that? I don't know how many people that are currently watching right now believe in Clark Phillips to be the true outside guy. Go into the live stream comments and comment there and tell me whether or not you believe in Clark Phillips. But what evidence do we have? You don't want to turn around and be like, oh, we've got a bottom 25 defense, but we've got a defense sitting at 14, 13, 12, and you're thinking that ends up kind of driving you forward, driving you to where you need to be, because that to me sounds like just enough to win the NFC South, but not nearly enough to be able to win a playoff game. Sounds like you would be shooting for 2025 and deciding whether or not you're paying Pitts, you're paying London, you're paying AJ, you're paying all these other dudes. Kevin King is our savior. Okay, Snick. Thanks, Hal. But like, think about that for a second. Is that you don't have a CB2. Not right now, anyway. Not a guy that you're like, oh my gosh, that guy's going to be something. It's very standoffish when you're talking about the Falcons defense, because you're like, I don't even know what it's going to look like. You're obviously changing the defense because you are a premier pass rusher. You're using your interior pass rush and your current linebacking group to be able to make this happen. Those are all truths. Those are all facts. It's the reason why you're changing this defense. It's going to look like a 43 line because you're going to be playing an under or an over and sticking a guy like Arnold Ebiketie or Braylon Trice or one of these guys on the edge as a stand-up linebacker rusher, edge guy, and go into next year and decide whether or not you're going to keep Grady Jarrett around, Onyemata, Street, Eddie Goldman after he's retired for the 16th time. That's a really good point, Hal. I mean, you have Antonio Hamilton, who had a very high, I think number 25 as a corner grade on PFF. And that's huge for you. He could be your stick-up guy for a little while. Clark Phillips could be your slot or vice versa. But I think what you're doing is you're sitting here going, this year is the first clean-out year. We're going to compete because we have the pieces to compete. Offensive line works, good quarterback, weapons that were underutilized that you know that are going to get better. A running back group, albeit that there's only 2 guys in this group, but a running back group that you know can handle the load and give you 1,000 yards as a backup and be able to catch the ball and run the ball effectively in the middle of the field all the way to the red zone. You know that it'll work. Dexter Vlash, what's going on, my man? Rise up, stay grounded. If you haven't already, come into the live chat, say hi. I would love to say hi back. Been a minute since I've been on, and I would love to say hello to everybody. This is a completely open discussion. I'm not going to comment on every single thing that everybody says, but I'd love to say hi to everybody on their first comment, and how are you, and what is going on? How's your Sunday going? Bless up to everybody in the chat. I hope you're all doing well. But let's just put some realism on this. Kirk Cousins is going to be a lot better than any of the 3 quarterbacks we've had over the last 3 years. With the asterisk on this statement being that Matt Ryan is obviously the best quarterback that's ever been in Falcons history. And if you can have anything better than a top 20 offense, if you can place 19th in offense, or defense. I meant to say defense, I'm sorry. But if you can have a top 20 defense, Lord forbid you end up having a top 15 defense. But I think your defense could be anywhere from 25 to 19 right now. With this group, without even adding any premier pass rusher, without adding a good CB2, without adding another safety, without adding a big nose tackle in the middle, none of that now. If you can get a defense from this group right now to succeed, an offense that just plays quality ball, Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, all the pieces that were underutilized are given an extra little oomph. And the offensive line stays healthy, and all 5 of those guys just do exactly what they were doing last year or a little bit better. You're not even asking for anything. You just the same stuff, right? You win 10 games. That's just the fact, right? I mean, everybody in here probably wants there to be some big hurrah from their favorite podcaster or analyst or YouTuber, but the reality of the situation is that the Atlanta Falcons in 2024 have a better chance of being the 2015 Falcons than they do the 2016 Falcons or the 2011-2012 Falcons. This Falcons group right now is in transition. I said it on a show not too long ago, only 4 days ago. I was like, this is a team in transition, changing their identity. How can you possibly expect anything from this team other than solid offense production and a question mark at defense, and say, I'm not excited about preseason games. I'm not excited about looking at the rookies because I know this offense is not led by rookies. I know that this defense is pretty much the same defense that we had last year. Really not many subtractions. We didn't lose a whole lot of people, and we brought most of the people back. I mean, y'all tell me different because I look at it and I say, no depression, no flat, and it's none of that. It's just the reality of the situation is I'm already ready for week 1. I don't care about training camp right now. What battle are we looking at during training camp? What's going to make us actually excited about training camp? Anybody that's watching this video right now, any single one of y'all, comment down in the chat below in the live chat, and y'all tell me. I mean, literally, what are we excited about for training camp? What battle are we really like? Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see that battle. The offense is set in stone. Who's fighting for what? Are we really gonna get excited about who's gonna be RB3, RB3 or wide receiver 3-4? Dirty Bird, what's going on, my man? Rise up, stay grounded. I hope you're doing well. Should we let Okuda go? Probably for the best. I'm not even gonna get into what the chat has started saying about it. Hal's one of those dudes, but I'm not even gonna get into the whole like zone versus man thing. I think it was just a good way for Okuda to try to regrow his career and see something different, and then back to it again. Dalray Bellamy, what's going on? Haven't said that name in a hot minute. How are you doing? Not really a battle I'm looking for, but I want to see all the rookie defensive linemen we drafted. But what are we looking at? And how many of those guys are going to end up getting played? I'm not trying to deflate. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to deflate anybody's excitement over what we're going to end up seeing. But like what? Like we need to see Ruka Rororo like playing games. Brandon Dorless playing games. Braylon Trice playing games. Like ain't nobody sitting here like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for Zach Harrison to finally see what I'm. Of course, Hal goes, I'm looking for Zach Harrison. Like, here's the thing. This is really cool because I just saw somebody say it in the chat. But, like, is Penix even going to play during the preseason? Like, what are we going to say? Like, he's not even going to play any games. Our first-round pick is not even going to play any games. Isn't that crazy? You have freaking Kirk Cousins, who's going to do a great job. He is. Even if he doesn't, you're not committed to him long term. You're only committed to him for 2 years. They can get over the hump of the system that you know that they're going to have a problem with. You know that new systems, even if it is familiar, your work environment changed, so you know it's going to get more difficult. Every single one of us in this chat right now, including myself, when you do a job, even if you have the experience in the job, the moment that it changes scenery, the job's different. It's just run different. It's something different, and you have to get into your routine. I think that's interesting too, is like when Shanahan got here in 2015. Y'all probably all already know where I'm going with this, but in 2015, Shanahan's here, right? And Matt Ryan and Shanahan start bumping heads, right? And Ryan finally conforms and says, I'm gonna do it. And they start doing better, but there's still a lot of bumpy road. And then 2016, same system, same stuff. They ripped a bunch of plays out of the playbook. They injected new stuff. They decided this is the way that we're going to end up going. I just see that happening with the Falcons this year. I just see it happening. I see the Falcons going, this is our transition year. We're figuring out who's going to stay and who's going to go for next year. We're going to spend more money next year. We're going to draft even better next year. We still have picks. We still have everything. We haven't put anything on the credit card. The cap looks good. It's growing. 2024 is our 2015. We win games. We lose some silly ones. We possibly get into the playoffs. Maybe we make some noise. Maybe we don't. But 2016 is the year that we end up winning. And I can see it, man. I can definitely see it, because then you go, and somebody just said it in the chat just now, that they're excited about Michael Penix ending up playing. Bro, if Michael Penix comes shooting in 2026 or 2027 and we start winning games in bunches, boy, I can't even begin to tell you how crazy that might end up changing the dynamic of how we as Falcons fans start kind of seeing things. It's hard for me to get excited for the season until I see what versions of Cousins we get. Yeah, true. Yeah. Even if you get baseline Kirk Cousins, you're still better than Desmond Ridder, Heineke, whatever you call him, and Mariota. Blizz, you're crazy, dude. I already bought my Super Bowl tickets. You're crazy, man. What's going on, brother? I already bought my Super Bowl tickets, boys. I think you're just looking at a team right now, man, that it's got a lot of talent. And I don't think people understand how talented this team is. It was so underutilized. It wasn't used properly. And with Kirk Cousins, you're going to probably end up seeing this team get a lot better. It's just not exciting until you actually see it, right? You're excited, I'm excited for the team to be better, but we haven't seen what this looks like, so. What's is today the first day of training camp, or are we still a week away? I want to see some things. Not that it will verify anything for me or for you, right? It's not going to justify or verify anything for anybody that's watching this video or anybody that is a Falcons fan with Kirk Cousins out there throwing the ball or London catching or these guys in pads. It's not going to change anything, really. But can the coaches develop the talent too? It's funny because Arthur Smith's been with us for some time now, so that's definitely something that we've been lacking is the developmental process. Dan Quinn couldn't develop guys, and now here we are. Arthur Smith has come through. He couldn't really develop guys, and now here we are with Raheem Morris, and I think that Raheem is definitely a player's guy and wants to develop his dudes. So it's first is what needs to stay, what needs to go, and then probably next year you'll have a better idea of what kind of team and what kind of pieces that have that particular identity, those abilities, those traits, end up adding more to that group. He developed CP. I think CP was just already so talented. I know it's a joke, but I think CP was just given so many opportunities, and that's why he looked so good. The new kickoff rules, though, are gonna really make CP a very valuable guy. Ray McLeod is gonna end up being super, super valuable if he becomes our returner. Punts and kicks. That could be really interesting. I will say though that the way that this team is kind of like trending, corner is probably going to be a high pick next year. I could see offensive line again. People are not going to want to hear this, but wide receiver is going to be high on the list. We could trade Tyler Algier. He could end up traded to another team, get some value out of him. This team might need to look at what they are doing right now and trade players like baseball players and try to get the most value out of them and the most money and the most picks and everything. Joe Houston, what's going on, my man? Rise up, stay grounded. My biggest gripe is how well we scheme our player makers open. The play calling, the offense, defense with 2 brand new coordinators. That's I don't know what Zach Robinson and what kind of Zach Robinson offense we're going to end up having, because everybody goes, it's the Rams system, so it's going to be good. And McVay is an amazing offensive coordinator and head coach. So to have guys from his staff is we're fortunate to have it. So privileged to be able to have connections to be able to get those guys in the building. That is unprecedented. We needed that so badly. Which wide receiver do you think makes more impact, Darnell Mooney or Rondell Moore? Probably Mooney. But to have guys like Zach Robinson, to have guys like Raheem Morris, have guys like Jimmy Lake, that's going to be Morris's defense, so I don't think we're really going to be too uppity about how things are. We got a true defensive guy in the building. We had an offensive guy last year for the last couple of years. And now we got a true defensive guy coming in here going, I've seen the offense, I've seen the defense of the Rams, I've seen how they did things over there. I'm going to emulate that here in Atlanta. I brought guys that are super impactful from the cranium department here. And they're going to give me some insight and input on how we want to run this offense and run this defense and how we want to scheme things out. And how we're going to end up going after teams. And again, we don't have an impact rusher. We don't. Arnold Ebiketie has not turned into that guy yet. Maybe never will. Maybe we'll just be an above average guy the entire time. But with Calais Campbell's guidance, I think it was very easy for them to get AK to make the next step up, because he was a complete ghost when he came here, and now, I mean, he's making impact and he's getting close. So I think him and Lorenzo Carter and Zach Harrison and Braylon Trice, I think this could be a very, very good year. We have Caden Ellis, Nate Lamb, and Troy Anderson. We just drafted inside linebacker. Grady Jarrett or David Onyemata? I think Onyemata is going to end up sticking around. I think if we have another bad year, and I don't think we are going to have a bad year, but if we had another bad year and we needed change in that department, that's maybe the reason why they got Dorless and Rowe and back-to-back, because they believe that we need to substitute those guys out heavily. And Grady has something to prove this year, and if we did right by him, then we would keep him until he wanted to retire. But I don't think we can have any sacred cows right now. We can't have any guys that like own a spot on the team. I think this has to become a baseball-esque situation with Atlanta, where they go, we're looking to pay decent money for guys in free agency, and we're looking to build our own staff here with the guys that are primarily unknown commodities in the college scene. And that will give us the opportunity to do better. Because we're going to create our own style, our own vision of what the Falcons look like. And I think that frustrates fans. I mean, I'm as frustrated as you guys are when we don't have a true edge talent. Like I said earlier, if we had Micah Parsons type, everybody in here would not be complaining. Everybody would be shut up. We would not. We'd have no problem. If Arnold Ebiketie had started to really blossom last year and show us, wow, Arnold, you're amazing. Zach Harrison, you're amazing. Lorenzo Carter, you still got it. If any of those guys had shown any of that to you or to me, we would be having a different conversation right now, where we'd be like, this is power. We can add to this. We can get better. But I think where we're currently sitting right here, and especially since next year is going to be a defensive draft, I expect them to most likely look at corner, look at defensive end on the back burner after they've seen what Trice and Ebiketie can do. Yeah, Carter's still on the team. Dupree was the one that ended up leaving. But where the Falcons are currently sitting right now is setting them up for corner next year, linebacker, nose tackle if a couple of guys end up leaving, safety, and this coming draft is filled with a lot of talent like that. It's a lot of premier talent like that in this coming draft. So of course you're going to sit here and you're going to say, next year is the year where we end up putting some key pieces in place, some heavy contributors, but you don't know if you're going to have defensive ends, defensive tackles leave next year. You have no idea if they're going to pay AJ. You got Jesse. I think Jesse Bates is a big piece to this. Having Jesse Bates back there makes Raheem have, something to be able to, some solid ground to step on and say, this is worth it. We can do better. I have a part of the field that I know that I can use Jesse Bates in order to no pun intended, bait people into throwing to that side of the field or trick them into throwing to that and intercepting the ball and pick sixes and stuff of that nature. As of right now, I don't have a console to be able to play College Football 25. And I don't have the money to be able to get the game either. And I thought they were going to release it on Steam. And I'm sitting here, College Football 25 less. Helms or Grant as the starter next to Bates. They'll probably switch him in and out. They'll probably keep the roster as close to as what it is from last year and roll with it and say, yeah, these are the people we're keeping for 25, and then, do their whole bit. But I've been wanting to play that game for a little bit now. I don't think it fully releases until later. I think all of the main people have it right now, like the pre-order people. But I don't make nearly enough money to be able to have the College Football 25 or a next-gen console. Dog, that's expensive. And then here's the funny thing. If you're not an Xbox guy, the cheaper of the two consoles is the Xbox, but then I don't want to pay for an Xbox subscription. And some of my favorite games are on PlayStation. And I don't even really play consoles that much. I actually play PC, so I'm waiting for them to put it on Steam or put it on some kind of you could download it for PC. It's crazy. I don't even want an Xbox or a PlayStation 5, and I'm like, I can't justify, almost my check.
like more than half of my check getting eaten up by buying a PlayStation 5. That's intense. The Matthew, what's going on, dude? Rise up, stay grounded. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, I feel like the Penix era. Once we're out of the Kurt era, the Penix era is gonna be yum. Chef's kiss, dude. He looks good. I don't know. Hit the thumbs up button if you guys are excited about Michael Penix Jr. Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, true. I just don't want to spend the money. It's a lot of money, dude. That's a lot of money. There's a version of Xbox Game Pass that would work for PC. I don't know if college football is on Game Pass, though. True. I think that Michael Penix Jr. is going to end up being like that quarterback for us for a good, solid, like, oh, man, it's going to be a good, solid 5 years of Michael Penix, and everybody's going to be like, woo! I'm so excited. And then that second contract's going to come up real quick, and everybody's going to be like, maybe we shouldn't pay for him. And they're going to pay for him. They're going to be like, yeah, Penix, you're doing so well. Please come back and play for us. Penix is going to get paid this massive contract. It's going to come out, and we're going to be like, oh, no, not Brian Leftwich. I don't know why that tickled me so bad. Oh, man. That's the most Falcons thing to happen, right? Is to be like, Michael Penix looks so good for like 2 years. I think Penix is going to be amazing. I think he's going to do so well. And I think a lot of people in the ether that is, Falcondom, whether they're, subscribed to this channel or any others, I think a lot of people are like, Michael Penix Jr., I kind of wish he was just playing right now. But man, having Kurt just makes this like milk and cookies and tucked into bed, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of deal. I'm comfy. Look, you guys say it in the chat. I'm comfy. I'm very comfortable with Kirk Cousins playing 2 years of Falcons football and doing average to above average, and then Michael Penix Jr. coming in here and taking us from above average to great. And I think it can happen. I believe it can happen. Yeah. Best QB room in the NFL. Yeah, because you got Heineke in the back at number 3, baby. Let's go. No. I hate that. I hate that so much. I would not be too surprised if the Falcons just capped 3 quarterbacks on the roster this year because of the new rule, and Heineke doesn't go anywhere at all. Penix is just there, and Kirk Cousins. I don't even want to say this. I'm looking away. I don't even want to say this to you guys. I think this is a bad idea if I end up saying this. All right, I'm going to end up saying it. I think that Michael Penix Jr. plays this year. I think Michael Penix Jr. ends up playing this year. And nobody wants to hear that because we all know what that means. I just have this feeling. Like deep inside, I have it right here. It's like right in my chest. And I can feel it. No. Imagine a world where we're all like, yes, I'm so excited for Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins comes running out with the American flag. First play, steps back, snaps his ankle. The Aaron Rodgers effect. Oh, I'm crying. Oh, that tickles me. Oh. Okay. Penix comes in, throws 3 touchdowns in his first performance. Everybody's freaking out. Michael Penix. The following year, he goes, no, I'm giving it to Kurt. It's his team. Oh. Oh. I can just see it. I can just see it. All right. Cousins goes back. His first throw. Throws. Oh, he goes down. Awkward. And the young quarterback is coming in. Michael Penix Jr. from Washington. Getting thrusted into work. Immediately throws a touchdown. Immediately throws a touchdown to Kyle Pitts. Everybody starts freaking out. The most Falcon thing of all time happens for us. Penix just going out on the interview, holding the pads. Yeah, we're just trying to see what we're trying to gather around Kirk right now, man. He just, it's we won today. It was for Kurt. He came out with that American flag. We were so excited. Then his ankle snapped into a million pieces. But we're doing this season's for Kurt, man. This season's for Kurt. We're gonna get it done. No. Please don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. Please don't. Oh my gosh. That would be the most Falcon thing to do. Please don't let it happen. Oh my gosh. If Kirk Cousins wasn't here, then Michael Penix Jr. would be playing and we would all be forced to watch what was going to end up happening. But I think Kurt is going to end up playing a full season with us, and he's going to throw a lot of good touchdowns, and we're going to have a moment where he's going to be like, you like that? Spikes the do-rag. Oh, no. Oh, no. That is the most Falcon thing to happen. Imagine Gosh, dude. Imagine Michael Penix Jr. coming in first game and, scored a touchdown on the Pittsburgh Steelers, dude, at home. Kurt gets hurt, and Penix comes in and has a 3-touchdown 1 interception performance. Everybody's freaking out. He almost threw for 300 yards. Dude's incredible. Kurt's hurt. They're saying he could be out for 6 to 9 weeks. They leave him on IR. Penix is out here throwing touchdowns. Fucking pointing dudes out and throwing tutties. And the piece de resistance, the absolute epitome of what Falcons fans could possibly imagine is Kirk Cousins going down. Penix coming in. Penix looks amazing. And our defense is trash. And we don't end up getting into the playoffs. That's the most Falcon thing you could possibly happen to us right now. Anyway, I think we end up winning 10 games, man. I really do believe it. I think we'll go 10-7. 11-6 is like the key, but I think we end up going like 10-7. Wouldn't that help your dynasty team as Bangley cries? Probably. By the way, we've got a unintentional grounding fantasy league, and Hal over here is like selling the whole farm. And I got questions as the commissioner of this league. I have questions. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you tanking? Do I need to put you on timeout? No trades to snack? Is that how this is? Yeah, that's what I thought. I used to have so much more vigor and an absolute just like rowdiness when I was older or younger. Excuse me, older. Benjamin Button. But now I just look at the team and I go, this is fine. Just moving at. I saw you trade the same player twice. Anyway, we've been on here for an hour, and I'm going to go take a lunch break. Yeah. I think I'm going to try to trade for Bijan Robinson in my other dynasty league. There's this guy who has him, and I kind of want to like sell my next 2 years of picks. That's been a few players, actually. Yeah, I know. You keep flipping them like houses. But I think I'm going to end up trying to trade for Bijan Robinson. I have Tyler Algier. Hey, you want to sell Spears? No. I might have to, though. I might have to. I need to shore up some of my team. I will catch you guys a little bit later. I'm probably going to end up getting on the PC in just a little bit. I'm going to go play some indoor soccer tonight, too. How would you guys like if we went live and I did an indoor soccer you'll buy? How would you like it if we did an indoor soccer live stream? I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to go play indoor soccer. I haven't played in a while. That would be interesting, right? Yeah, I'll get the stream going. I'll get the stream going and see whether or not I can perform up to par. I was exhausted last time. I hope that I hold it up. I've only been really doing stretching. I haven't been doing any cardio or anything, but I've needed to get my body to where it will work. But we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Y'all have a blessed day. Take it easy. Rise up and stay grounded, y'all. Bum, ba-da-bum.